This video is about Isis raises son over Nile but Seth steals power. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the heart of ancient Kemet, where the river Nile wound like a silver serpent, the gods watched over the land with vigilant eyes. The sun hung low in the sky, its golden rays glistening upon the waters as it heralded the beginning of a new era. Isis, the goddess of magic and motherhood, stood atop a high cliff, the winds weaving through her long ebony hair. She was radiant, her spirit aglow with the power of renewal. The Nile, a lifeblood to the people, pulsed with the rhythm of nature itself. As the goddess raised her arms, the sun responded, ascending with vibrant hues that ignited the heavens. A new day dawned, and with it, hope surged through the hearts of men. Farmers were awakened from their slumber, ready to till the fertile soil, while fishermen cast their nets into the shimmering waters, singing praises to Isis for her gift of light. Yet darkness lurked in the shadows, for Seth, the god of chaos and storms, watched from the distant cliffs of the barren east. His eyes, like twin obsidian orbs, glinted with malevolence. He had long envied the light that surrounded Isis and the love that the people showered upon her. In his heart anger simmered, feeding the embers of betrayal. Determined to seize the power of the sun, Seth began to craft his dark designs. As the light spread across the land, a gathering storm began to brew. Whirling clouds encircled the horizon, and the once calm air grew thick with tension. Seth called upon his legion of monstrous creatures, serpents that writhed like nightmares, and jackals with fangs that glinted like daggers in the shadows. Together, they answered his call, eager to sow chaos and reap destruction. Meanwhile, in a temple filled with sacred incense, the priests of Isis sensed the impending danger. They whispered prayers, their voices trembling as they sought the protection of the goddess. But even as they chanted, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. Seth had unleashed his fury upon the land. With a howl that echoed through the mountains, the malevolent god descended upon the Nile. Dark clouds gathered, blotting out the sun and plunging the land into a chilling twilight. The river roared in protest, its waters swirling violently as if sensing the turmoil above. In that moment, fear gripped the hearts of mortals, for they could see the betrayal creeping across the land. From her perch, Isis sensed the disturbance, a gut-wrenching premonition that her brother's jealousy had turned into a wrathful storm. Her heart ached, not only for the people she loved, but also for Seth, lost in his own darkness. With a resolve fueled by sorrow, she spread her wings, a vision of light amidst the encroaching shadows, and flew towards the tempest. As she soared through the air, she called upon the winds to carry her forward, the golden rays of the sun breaking through the gathering clouds. Seth, I implore you, brother, the land needs the light. Do not let chaos consume you. Her voice rang out like a clarion call, echoing far and wide. But Seth, consumed by rage, reveled in the chaos he had wrought. How naive you are, sister. This world needs to know the power that comes from destruction. I shall raise the sun, not you. His laughter was thunderous, reverberating through the skies like the roar of a monstrous beast. With the declaration, he reached into the depths of his power, summoning the dark forces that lay dormant in the shadows of the earth. Creatures both grotesque and terrifying emerged, their howls blending with the howling winds. It surged towards the river Nile, determined to drown its light in despair. Isis, undeterred, summoned her own magic. With each flap of her wings, she conjured brilliant beams of golden light that pierced through the gloom. The creatures writhed and recoiled, shrieking as the radiance bathed them. You cannot extinguish the light, she shouted, her voice resolute, a beacon for the weary souls below. Yet, as the struggle raged, Seth's fury grew. He unleashed a whirlwind, a tempest of chaos sweeping through the valley. Trees uprooted, their roots torn from the earth, and the waters of the Nile bubbled and churned. The mortals watched in horror as the land they cherished was torn asunder. In the midst of the turmoil, a warrior named Horus, son of Isis and Osiris, stood resolute. Clad in armor forged from the sacred metals of the earth, he raised his spear, a symbol of hope. I will fight for our land, for our people. I will stand against Seth and protect the light. His voice rang with the strength of 1,000 warriors, igniting courage in the hearts of those around him. He rallied a band of brave souls, farmers, fishermen, and craftsmen, men and women willing to stand against the tide of chaos. As they gathered, a fire ignited within them, burning brighter than the sun itself. We are not merely the children of gods, Horus proclaimed. We are the guardians of our destiny. Isis, sensing the shift in tides, called upon her brother's better nature. Join us. Seth, you need not walk this path alone. Together, we can forge a world bathed in both light and shadow. Her voice, though firm, was laced with an undercurrent of sorrow. But Seth, blinded by his hubris, only laughed. Join you, I will take what is rightfully mine. The sun will rise under my command." With a grand gesture, he unleashed a torrent of energy, sending shockwaves through the earth. The very fabric of reality trembled as the wilderness screamed in terror. As the two powerful gods clashed, the skies erupted in a cacophony of light and dark. Each strike sent ripples through the fabric of the world, and the land quaked beneath their fury. The mortals, witnessing the divine battle, felt their own hearts race, torn between fear and awe. The clash of their powers illuminated the horizon, a battle of destiny, honor, and the eternal struggle between chaos and order. Amidst the chaos, the dark creatures surged forward, drawn to the power radiating from the clash of gods. Horus and his warriors met the tide of darkness, swords flashing, blood spilling, the scent of battle and sweat mingling with the air. The fate of the Nile hung in the balance. The ground shook as Seth summoned storms, and Horus countered with the strength of the sun. The mortals fought valiantly beside him, wielding their weapons, their hearts fueled by hope. For the Nile, for the light, they cried, their voices merging into a singular roar that echoed through the chaos. But just as victory seemed within reach, a blade of darkness struck Horus, the embodiment of their hopes. He fell to the ground, blood staining the earth, and the cries of despair erupted from his comrades. The sun dimmed further, casting shadows over the battlefield, and Isis gasped, her heart shattering at the sight. "No, Horus," she cried, summoning her tears, which fell like rain upon the wounded. "You shall not fall, not today." In that moment of vulnerability, her magic surged, intertwining with the essence of the Nile. The waters answered her call, rising like a wave of life. As the shadows threatened to consume them all, a binding light enveloped Horus. The fallen warrior felt the warmth of his mother's love, and in that moment he rose once more. The energy coursed through him, igniting his spirit, and he brandished his spear with renewed vigor. "Together, we shall reclaim the light," he shouted, and the warriors rallied around him, their spirits soaring. With a thunderous charge, they surged towards Seth, each thrust and strike fueled by the fire of defiance. But Seth, unyielding in his chaos, retaliated with a tempest of wrath. The skies erupted, and the world trembled as the two forces collided. In the heart of battle, the gods and mortals entwined their fates, each blow echoing with the weight of destiny. Yet, as they fought, a spectre of tragedy loomed overhead. The power of betrayal surged through Seth, a reminder of the bond they once shared, now broken and frayed. "Isis, you will never understand. The sun is mine to control," he roared, unleashing a violent storm that threatened to consume all. With every strike, the fabric of the world strained. The mighty Nile, their lifeblood, shuddered beneath them, the chaos threatening to drown the very essence of their existence. The battle was far from over, and the fate of the light hung by a thread, suspended between the choices of gods and mortals. In the heart of the struggle, Isis pressed forward, her spirit unwavering. "Brother, I will not abandon you. You do not have to be alone in this darkness," she cried, reaching out with her heart, seeking to bridge the chasm that had formed between them. But Seth's rage was relentless, fueled by a twisted sense of betrayal. He unleashed his most potent magic, a tempest that roared like a hungry beast. The winds howled, and the darkness threatened to engulf all that was sacred. In that moment, the world held its breath, teetering on the precipice of fate. Land trembled with an intensity unseen before. The very sky fractured, as if the gods themselves were squabbling over dominion of the universe. The winds howled, carrying the scent of impending doom, and the Nile, once a tranquil river of life, roared with a fury born from the chaos above. Seth's laughter echoed through the storm, a chilling sound that sent shivers down the spines of the bravest warriors. "You think you can save me, sister? You think your light can penetrate the depths of my darkness?" His voice was both thunderous and mocking, a cacophony that drowned out the spirits of the hope-filled. "Let me show you the true power of the void." With that, he raised his hands to the heavens, summoning shadowy tendrils that snaked down like vipers, ensnaring Horus and his warriors. The tendrils coiled around them, their grip icy and suffocating. The warriors struggled against the bindings, their faces etched with desperation and fury. "Hold fast," Horus shouted, his voice a beacon amidst the tumult. "We will not succumb to his darkness. Fight, my brethren, fight for the light." Each word became a lifeline, igniting a flicker of resistance within them. They strained against their bonds, their spirits defiant, yet the dark tendrils tightened mercilessly. In a moment of vulnerability, Horus felt despair creep into his heart. "Mother, grant me your strength," he cried, calling out to Isis. His plea reverberated through the storm as Isis, sensing her son's plight, redoubled her efforts to breach the chasm that separated her from Seth. "Together, brother," she implored, her voice rising above the chaos as she flew closer, wings shimmering with a golden light. You do not have to be this way. You were once a protector, a keeper of balance. Remember the days when we united our powers for the good of Kemet. For a brief moment, Seth faltered, his rage wavering as memories flickered through his mind, the laughter shared with Isis, the unity they once wielded. But then, darkness clawed back into his heart, feeding on his jealousy and resentment. Those days are gone, sister. Power lies in chaos. I shall rule the sun. With a thunderous roar, he unleashed a torrent of shadow, a swirling vortex of despair that threatened to swallow everything in its path. The twilight deepened, and the very ground began to crack. Stand firm, the light will prevail. Horus shouted, his spear blazing like the heart of the sun. He focused every ounce of his strength, channeling the essence of the Nile, weaving magic into his strikes. The tendrils of darkness recoiled, hissing and writhing, temporarily releasing their grip. With newfound freedom, the mortals surged forward, united in purpose. Farmers wielded scythes, fishermen brandished nets, and craftsmen swung hammers and axes. Their rallying cries filled the air, a furious symphony of defiance against the chaos that threatened to consume them. In a heartbeat, the battlefield transformed into a theater of epic struggle. Horus rallied the forces of Kemet, charging into the fray with unmatched valor. For our land, for our future, he roared, his spear slicing through the shadows, illuminating the darkness. Seth's eyes narrowed as he witnessed the audacity of these mortals daring to claim their agency amidst divine conflict. Foolish mortals, I shall show you the true meaning of fear. He summoned forth monstrous creatures, warped by chaos, twisted abominations with eyes that glowed like embers from the abyss. They surged forward, a cacophony of howls and shrieks tearing through the air. One beast, a colossal serpent with scales of midnight, lunged at Horus, its maw wide, ready to swallow him whole. But Horus stood his ground, thrusting his spear forward, channeling the light of the sun through the weapon. The spear met the serpent's jaws in an explosion of energy, sending shockwaves through the earth. The creature recoiled, hissing in pain as Horus pressed his advantage, driving the spear deeper, plunging the essence of the Nile into its very soul. Around him, the warriors fought with all their might, the air alive with the clash of metal against flesh, the cries of the brave mingling with the roars of the monstrous horde. Isis, hovering above, watched with a heart torn between pride for her son and dread for the fate of her brother. Remember your true self, Seth, she cried out, desperation tinging her voice. You were once a protector. You are more than chaos. Yet the darkness continued to swirl around Seth, a tempest of rage and betrayal. You think I can return to the light? You have underestimated me. Sister, I will consume everything in my path. He raised his arms once more, summoning an even darker storm, a swirling vortex that threatened to obliterate everything. The very sky wept, and the earth trembled beneath the weight of his fury. Horus, sensing the gravity of the moment, called upon the last vestiges of their combined strength. We must fight together, Mother, he shouted, rallying his warriors around him. Isis, lend us your light. With tears glistening in her eyes, Isis spread her wings wide and invoked her magic, the essence of motherhood and life pouring forth like a cascade of golden rays. The light clashed against Seth's tempest, illuminating the battlefield as the forces of creation met the embodiment of destruction. Together, screamed Horus, a rallying cry that resonated deep within the hearts of those around him. The mortals surged forward, fighting with the ferocity of those who had nothing left to lose. As their strength converged, Horus thrust his spear into the heart of the storm, channeling Isis's light and the collective resolve of the mortals into a singular beam of brilliance. May you chaos find peace, may your darkness be transformed. The impact was cataclysmic. Light and dark collided in an explosion that reverberated across the heavens. The world dimmed briefly, shadow swallowing all before a brilliant radiance burst forth, illuminating every corner of Kemet. Caught in the maelstrom of light, Seth screamed, a sound filled with rage, confusion, and the flickering remnants of his past. No, this cannot be! But the power of unity surged through the battlefield, the mortals and gods alike intertwining their fates with one another. The darkness around Seth began to wane, the tendrils of chaos unraveling as the light broke through. Isis descended, her heart aching for her brother, reaching out with open hands. Seth, it doesn't have to end like this. Choose the light. Choose us. In that moment, as the chaos began to recede, a flicker of recognition crossed Seth's eyes. For a heartbeat, he remembered the bonds of family, the laughter shared, the light that once filled his heart. The storm around him lessened, the shadows retreating as his will crumbled. But just as hope began to dawn, a spear of darkness shot forth from the depths of Seth's chaos, aimed at Horus, the embodiment of their unity. I will not be defeated. Seth roared, the shadow swirling one last time. In a moment of instinct, Isis flung herself between her son and the oncoming attack, the darkness piercing her heart. Noth. Horus screamed, eyes wide with horror as his mother fell. The battlefield fell silent, the storm dissipating, replaced by a haunting stillness. The light flickered, dimming as Isis lay on the ground, a fragile figure amidst the remnants of battle. With trembling hands, Horus rushed to her side, tears streaming down his face. "Mother, no," he cried, cradling her head in his arms. "You cannot leave us, you are the light, the love that binds us." Isis smiled gently, her eyes filled with warmth despite the pain. "My son, light never truly fades, it transforms, you must carry it within you. Protect Kemet, protect the balance." As her last breath escaped her, the light around her pulsed one final time, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. Seth, witnessing the tragedy unfold, felt the crack in the fortress of his heart. He fell to his knees, the chaos around him dissipating like mist. "What have I done?" he whispered, the weight of his choices crashing upon him. The veil of darkness fell away, revealing the beautiful expanse of the Nile, glimmering in the returning sunlight, yet mourning the sacrifice made. Horus, tears streaming down his face, turned his gaze upon his uncle, the embodiment of chaos. "You have lost everything, brother," he said, voice trembling with the weight of his grief. "But you can still choose to be a part of this world, not its destroyer." In that moment of vulnerability, the gods and mortals alike stood at a crossroads, a choice between darkness and redemption. Seth looked into the eyes of the people he had sought to destroy and saw not only fear but resilience. As the sun began to rise over the Nile, casting golden rays across the land, he whispered a vow that transcended the chaos he had embraced. "I will try." As the sun broke through the lingering shadows, casting a golden hue over the Nile, the world held its breath, suspended in the balance between despair and hope. Horus cradled his mother in his arms, the weight of loss heavy upon him. The warriors around them, battered and bruised, wept for the goddess who had shielded them from darkness. Isis' body glimmered faintly, her spirit entwining with the very essence of the land she loved. "Horus," she whispered, her voice like the rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze, "you must lead them, show them the way." Her words resonated in the hearts of all gathered, igniting a flicker of determination among the grieving souls. Across the battlefield, Seth knelt in a shroud of disbelief and sorrow. "I have brought this upon us," he murmured, his once unyielding gaze now soft, reflecting the shambles of his heart. The chaos that had once been his ally now lay in ruins, its power drained. In that moment, he was stripped of his title as the god of storms, reduced to mere ash and regret a lost brother, a fallen god. Horus stood, his spear piercing the air. "Seth, you have the chance to choose, to embrace what was once true. Let us forge a new path together." The warriors rallied behind him, their voices rising in a chorus of unity echoing across the sands. "We shall not fall to darkness, we will rise." Seth's eyes flickered, a storm of emotions surging within him. "You think I can walk beside you after what I have done?" He shook, as if wrestling with a tempest inside, the weight of his actions nearly unbearable. "I shattered our family. Your choice does not define you." Horus interjected, his voice unwavering. "The sun will not turn its back on you, neither must we. Stand with us, Seth, and we shall reclaim the Nile together." But even as Seth grappled with the remnants of his fading darkness, a familiar figure emerged from the shadows on the battlefield, Nephthys, goddess of the night and sister to Isis. She glided forward, her presence imposing yet graceful, eyes glimmering with unspoken truth. "Seth," she said softly, "there is still light within you. Do not let your grief consume you." She extended her hand, a gesture of reconciliation. "We can heal the breach, but only if you are willing to embrace the dawn." Seth looked between his sister and the radiant figure of Horus, his eyes burned with the fierce determination of a warrior. An image of unity flashed before him, a time when light and dark had danced together in a delicate balance, when he and Isis had forged a land of prosperity and harmony. "Can I?" he breathed, the question laden with a mixture of hope and despair. "Can I truly return from this abyss?" "Yes," Nephthys replied, her voice a melody of comfort amidst the tumult. "But it begins with you. Choose to embrace the dawn." With that, the winds began to shift. The dark clouds that had once clung to him like a second skin began to dissipate, replaced by the warmth of the sun's embrace. It was not an easy transformation, as if a snake shedding its skin, painful, raw, and intoxicatingly liberating. Horus stepped forward, raising his spear high. "Together, we shall defend the light and banish the darkness that once sought to consume us. Join us. Brother Seth, the Nile calls for its protector." A surge of power rippled through the air, and Seth felt the pulse of the land beneath his knees, a reminder of the bond that had once tied them together. "I will not let this moment slip away," he pledged, rising to his feet with newfound resolve. I will fight for Kemet." The warriors erupted in cheers, their voices melding into a symphony of hope. With their spirits united, they turned their gaze toward the horizon, where the last remnants of darkness lingered. The remnants of Seth's monstrous creatures, emboldened by chaos, still roamed, seeking to wreak havoc upon the land. "Let them come," Horus declared, his voice like thunder. "We are no longer just warriors of flesh, but guardians of light. We will protect the Nile." With a battle cry echoing across the valley, Horus led the charge, spear brandished, cutting through the remnants of shadow that dared to oppose them. Seth, now resolute, followed, summoning new strength from the depths of his being, channeling both his chaos and the lingering warmth of light. The ground shook as they collided with the remnants of Seth's monstrous legion. Serpents slithered, jackals howled, and the cursed beasts snarled, but now they were met with fierce resistance. Each warrior fought with a renewed spirit, their blows infused with the light of unity and purpose, pushing back against the dark tide that threatened their home. Seth, now donning the mantle of protector, unleashed a tempest, not one of chaos, but of cleansing power. Lightning danced from his fingertips, illuminating the battlefield with a dazzling light. "I summon the storms of change," he roared, sending forth waves of energy that purged the shadows and ignited the ground with life. "Feel the power of the Nile." The air thickened with magic as the warriors pressed forward, fighting as one body, one heart, united by the light of their fallen goddess. Horus struck down a monstrous beast with a swift thrust of his spear, the creature collapsing into shadows. "For Isis," he shouted, fueling the fire in their hearts. "Together, let us reclaim this land." Nephthys called, her presence shimmering like starlight as she wove her own magic, binding light and shadow into a protective barrier around her allies. The balance must be restored. With each clash, the battlefield shifted, the tide of war swaying in favor of the united forces of Kemet. The warriors, emboldened by the resurgence of their gods, fought with unmatched fervor. Yet, amidst the chaos, Horus felt a rumble in the earth, a remnant of the darkness that still sought to consume them. Suddenly, a colossal shadow erupted from the depths of the earth, a creature born of pure chaos, its eyes glowing like embers, its maw filled with jagged teeth. It towered over the warriors, a manifestation of their greatest fears. "Stand firm!" Horus shouted, rallying the warriors around him. "This creature is a reflection of our past, but we shall not falter." As the creature lunged for the warriors, Seth stepped forward, the storm within him roaring to life. "I will not let you devour my kin," he bellowed, channeling the tempest he had once wielded for chaos into a force of protection. "To get that," Nephthys urged, raising her hands as light poured forth, merging with the energy Seth summoned. Horus stood resolute, spear aloft, beckoning the warriors to unite under the banner of the sun. "For our land, for our fallen, for the light!" With a brilliant explosion, the combined forces surged forward, light and dark intertwining, striking at the heart of the monstrous being. The clash echoed like thunder across the valley, shaking the very foundations of the earth. The creature roared, its form writhing, the darkness that had fueled it unraveling as the light enveloped it. "No, I will not be extinguished," they howled, but the voices of the warriors rose above its cries. "Feel our resolve, feel our unity," they shouted, their cries melding into a singular wave of defiance. As the creature writhed, Horus plunged his spear into its heart, the impact sending a shockwave of energy rippling through the battlefield. Light erupted like a supernova, enveloping them all. The skies cleared, and the sun shone down upon the warriors, illuminating the battlefield in resplendent glory. The remnants of darkness crumbled, fading into nothingness, leaving only a shimmering aura of light. Horus stood tall, breathless yet victorious. "We have reclaimed our home," he cried, turning to face the gathered warriors and gods. "Together, we have forged a new dawn." A cheer erupted, an anthem of hope that reverberated through the valley. Seth, humbled yet resolute, felt the weight of his choices lift. "I will be a guardian, not a destroyer," he vowed, looking upon the people he once sought to subjugate. "I will protect this land and honor the memory of our beloved Isis." And so, as the sun hung high in the sky, casting golden rays upon the Nile, the gods and mortals stood united, their hearts bound by the light of sacrifice and the promise of a new era. The echoes of battle faded, replaced by the song of the Nile, a melody of life, love, and an unyielding spirit that would endure for all eternity. With the dawn rising over Kemet, hope surged through the hearts of all, a testament to the power of unity and the resilience of the human spirit. Together, they would forge a legend that would echo through the ages, a tale of redemption, love, and the everlasting dance between light and darkness. The sun hung high over the Nile, a radiant orb that cast golden rays upon the land, revealing the scars of battle once etched in its soil. The warriors stood, weary yet triumphant, their armor glinting under the embrace of light. Horus, still feeling the warmth of his mother's love in every heartbeat, gazed out over the horizon, where the remnants of darkness had once loomed like a storm cloud. Now, peace returned, a fragile gift but precious nonetheless. Yet the tranquility felt tenuous, as if the very air were holding its breath, waiting for the next tumultuous wave to crash upon them. The Nile whispered tales of ancient sorrows, and the winds carried the echoes of past battles. In that moment of victory, the trappings of grief wrapped around Horus's heart, choking the exuberance of the moment he had long fought for. "Mother," he murmured under his breath, feeling her absence like a chasm in his soul. "He sacrificed everything for this land. I will not let your light fade with your last breath." His voice trembled with an oath made in the silence of his heart. "I will ensure that your legacy endures." Beside him, Seth stood, a silhouette against the radiant backdrop, his figure heavy with the burden of his past actions. He clenched his fists, the echoes of chaos still buzzing in his veins, yet now tempered by the warmth of sunlit hope. "Horus," he began, his voice low and growly, "I cannot change what I have done, nor can I erase the pain I've caused, but I will fight for our kin, for Isis' memory. I vow it." Horus turned to him, eyes fierce yet understanding. "Redemption is not so easily won, brother. You must earn the trust you shattered, but if you truly wish to stand with us, then let us forge a new future together." The weight of leadership settled on Horus's shoulders, the mantle of responsibility shifting, yet he felt the strength of the warriors around him, their hearts echoing his resolve. "Then we shall begin," Seth declared. "Let us gather the people. They will need to see our unity, to believe in the dawn we have fought so fiercely for." As the gods and mortals began to converge along the banks of the Nile, the air buzzed with anticipation. The sun, a witness to their struggles, illuminated the gathering with a golden glow, transforming the battlefield into a sacred ground of healing. The people of Kemet, weary from the chaos that had wrought havoc upon their lives, looked upon their gods with a mix of hope and trepidation. From among the masses stepped an elder, his skin weathered like ancient parchment, eyes glimmering with wisdom. "You have returned to us, gods of light," he intoned, his voice deep and resonant. "But can we trust the god of chaos who has brought us naught but grief?" Seth stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. "I am not the god I once was. I seek to stand in the light, to protect what I once sought to destroy. I will earn your trust through my actions." Sincerity in his voice was palpable, a plea for redemption that hung heavy in the air. The elder regarded him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Words are vain, my lord. It is in deeds that we find truth." Horus seized the moment, lifting his spear high. "Then let us prove ourselves. Let us rebuild what was broken. Reignite the embers of hope. Kemet needs us united, gods and mortals alike." His fervor swept through the crowd, igniting their spirits with the fire of determination. Thus began a work of reconstruction, a labor of love and unity. The warriors mingled with the farmers, helping to mend homes and repair the fields that had been ravaged by Seth's chaos. As they worked side by side, the walls of mistrust began to crumble, brick by brick, as laughter mingled with the scent of earth and new beginnings. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the bright light of the sun transformed the ravaged lands into a tapestry of life. The Nile, once tumultuous with chaos, now flowed serenely, whispering tales of renewal. Yet in the depths of each heart a shadow of unease lingered. "It is not over yet," Horus confided to Nephthys one evening as they surveyed the reinvigorated fields where crops blossomed anew. "Seth's past actions weigh heavily on the people. They whisper of fear, of unease. We may have defeated the darkness, but redemption is a long road." Nephthys nodded, her dark hair swirling like the night sky. "They need to see him act to witness that he can protect, not destroy. Perhaps a test of sorts, a challenge that allows him to demonstrate his commitment to our cause." Horus's brow furrowed with thought. He proposed we summon a threat to see how he responds. "It is a dangerous game, but a necessary one," Nephthys countered, her voice firm. "The shadows of the past will haunt him, and if he wishes to reclaim his place, he must confront them openly. He must face what he has done." Reluctantly, Horus nodded, the weight of the decision hanging heavily upon him. "Very well, we shall prepare a test, a challenge that will reveal Seth's true heart." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a crimson hue across the Nile, the warriors gathered once more, their spirits rekindled yet cautious. "Tomorrow," Horus began, "we shall summon forth a creature of shadow, a remnant of chaos that still lingers within the earth. This test will serve to reveal Seth's heart." A murmur swept through the crowd, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. Seth, sensing their hesitance, stepped forward once more. "I will embrace this challenge. I will prove that I am no longer bound by darkness." He clenched his jaw, determination etched on his face. "I will show you that I can protect, not harm." The next day, as dawn broke over the horizon, the air crackled with tension. With a chant woven from the ancient tongues of their ancestors, Horus summoned the creature, a grotesque being born from the chaos that had once defined Seth. The ground rumbled, and from the depths of the earth, a massive serpent emerged, scales shimmering with dark energy. "Face your past, Seth," Horus declared, heart hammering as he readied his spear. "Show us who you truly are." The serpent coiled, hissing ominously, eyes reflecting the chaos that had once consumed Seth. "Your light cannot extinguish me," it roared, lunging forward, fangs bared, as the ground shook beneath its weight. Seth stepped forward, heart racing, his hands crackling with energy. "I will not let fear control me any longer," he shouted, summoning a storm of light, channeling all the warmth and love that had surrounded him in recent weeks. The winds howled as the tempest swirled around him. The creature lunged, and with a fierce cry, Seth unleashed his magic, a dazzling torrent of radiance that shattered the shadows. The serpent recoiled, shrieking in rage as it was engulfed in light. "You cannot defeat me," it bellowed, thrashing violently. "Then allow me to show you the power of unity." Seth countered, feeling the strength of the warriors behind him. The earth trembled as he charged, the air around him igniting with golden light, illuminating the darkness that had once claimed him. With a fierce thrust, he plunged his hand into the heart of the beast, feeling the chaotic energy surge against his own. "You are a part of me. I will not let you consume me or my people any longer," he roared, channeling every ounce of his being into the confrontation. The serpent writhed, its form flickering between shadow and light, as if caught between two worlds. "You cannot change your nature," it hissed, venom dripping from its fangs. "Watch me," Seth declared, pouring forth the love and joy he had found among his kin, battling the shadows with the very essence of rebirth. At last, with a mighty cry, he unleashed a wave of light that echoed through the battlefield. The serpent howled, an anguished cry of despair as the dark energy unraveled, fading like mist before the rising sun. The warriors erupted in cheers, their voices a harmonious chorus of hope and determination. "You have done it," Horus shouted, pride swelling in his chest. "You have embraced the light." The serpent collapsed, its form dissolving into nothingness, leaving behind a spark of radiant energy. Seth fell to his knees, breathless, tears of relief streaming down his cheeks. I faced it," he murmured, overwhelmed by the magnitude of his victory. "I faced my darkness and emerged transformed." Horus stepped forward, extending his hand to help him rise. "You have chosen the light, brother. Now let us walk this path together." Seth took his hand, his heart swelling with gratitude and newfound purpose. As the sun rose higher, casting golden rays across Kemet, the people cheered, witnessing the transformation not just of a god, but of a family reunited. In that moment, Horus, Seth, and Nephthys stood side by side,